Alrighty, it is showtime. Let's get into the crypto news because today there's a decent amount with Bitcoin going higher and higher and Jupiter news as well. Plenty of research went into today, so make sure you stay to the end. Ask some questions at the end if you can. First thing, we'll start with Jupiter. The information was just dropped. I'm going to make a dedicated video on this. Long story short, there's going to be a vote to fund 2 more Jupiter next Jan 2025, and Jan 2026. And for it to pass, 70% of the votes must be yes. So if you do not like things, just vote no, and then it'll be iterated on until it actually passes. And if it's never iterated on enough to get passed, then I guess it won't go ahead, but I'm sure it will. It may not just go through in its first form. There's another post done by Fabiano. There's quite a few posts out there to try and give a bit of a TLDR, but I want to do a dedicated video on this just from my point of view, giving everything that's being spoken about, and then people can ask their questions and I'll give them my honest kind of viewpoint. Having a look at the market is Sol was kind of up a little bit and then down a little bit, but it was almost at its all-time high, so it's not too far away from that. And just keep in mind that all-time high is like $259. ETH is like 4,800, so we're still doing really, really well. But BTC, of course, is going to lift up the markets in general, but this is getting the majority of the inflow of capital, billions of dollars. We are greedy, but not too greedy. Come down a little bit at 83, and Bitcoin hit $94,000. Now, the reason why it hit such a high amount was because of the IBIT ETFs. So that was talked about yesterday with BlackRock. Bitcoin ETF options trading volume hitting 2 billion. I did say yesterday that this was reference to Marty Party, that they all have to be settled in Bitcoin. And I don't know if there's some confusion on that in terms of does the person that bought the option, the put or the call, do they receive Bitcoin? No, they get the actual ETF, of course, but the fund needs to go and buy the actual Bitcoin. So that on-chain activity, the fact that it has to go on-chain and actually buy the Bitcoin, that is what's very, very bullish for this. There's, of course, decent amount of other news that is pushing forward this Bitcoin narrative, and this dominance maybe it rises a little bit, and then it's going to come, and then it's going to go into the altcoins. When? We would all like to know that soon, sometime soon. I am hoping that Solana hits $300 by the end of the year. Then I win a bet with somebody that I made quite some time ago. All right, so Michael Saylor to present to the Microsoft board next month about buying Bitcoin. If Microsoft gets involved, then this is like others will just jump in and jump in and jump in. Solana staking rewards hit an all-time high of 10.3%. So this for most validators that had a low commission like validate.com, this would have been the case, but this is just driven by a huge amount of MEV. So this is why transactions, you have to pay more gas fees in order to push them through. This is just because there's so much activity on Solana. It is true that now it is not a subset, it is not a sub-cent transaction fee. It's costing more because of all this. You can probably get it through every now and then with less than a cent, but it's better just to pay more. And all this will eventually be solved by Firedancer, but it will take time. We've got some very bullish news for just Solana in general with Solana verifiable builds. So there's a lack of open source stuff on Solana. There's a lack of forking. It's quite, VC funded and privatized in terms of that stuff. There is open source stuff, but it is harder to build for sure. I'm pretty sure everyone can agree on that. It's harder than the EVM world, but it's still, good place to build. The reason why I say it's a good place to build is I'll actually reference another tweet. I'll see if I can find it in a second. I'll compare the gas fees for Solana. So this one, what this tool does is it's a verified tool. It provides a deterministic builds that prove on-chain programs match their source code. So it's for the developers, it's just one command to build the program and one command to verify, and then it gets shown in the actual what are we talking about here? In the actual what is this called? Like in SolScan, Solana FM, Solana Beach, Explorer. In the actual Explorer, we can see it here, and that gives you far more trust. You can, maybe I have to go down one. You can see thus far, Phoenix Trade, Squads, Margify, Drift, Orca, Radium. etc. They've all been verified. Unsure. I mean, I can see a lot of the reasons on why a lot of these would be doing things. I mean, it's regardless, it's very, very good. But Phoenix Trade, I've been using it for a little bit of time, but I don't think it's gaining a lot of transaction, a lot of kind of traffic. So I'm unsure how well that's going to be around. But hey, if they're keen to keep on building on Solana, cool. Other big news is USDS is live on Solana. If you don't know what this is, it's DAI, D-A-I. This is the original kind of decentralized crypto-based stablecoin. Not like UST or whatever. It has lost its peg before. And that's just, I think, due to the inefficiencies of the Ethereum marketplace and just not a very good liquidation engine due to the gas fees and the amount of transactions per second it can kind of process. I did say I was going to show you something else regarding my previous tweet, so let me just see if I can find that. Kamino. I thought it was Kamino. He may have a different name. Basically, someone from the Kamino team. Don't know what his Twitter handle is, but I'm following him somehow. He just showed there's a new dApp on Solana where you can leverage up your position. Sorry, a new dApp on Ethereum where you can leverage up your position, similar to what you can do with Kamino, and it costs $150 in gas to make it go up, and then it will cost $150 probably to unwind it. So definitely not a worthwhile thing. So let's have a quick look and just see when DAI actually lost its peg. The reason I'm just kind of pointing this out is not as a FUD vector or anything like that, but just because of the fact that like there is more risk with this as opposed to USDC or USDT. That was not what I wanted to do. Apologies. So its lowest price, 88 cents over a year ago with a massive liquidation event, or it looks as though it was liquidated. So there was some sort of liquidation engine that happened in the previous like 2 cycles ago. But you can get it kind of depegging. Now it's heavily like backed by USDC. So it's not a perfect kind of decentralized stablecoin, but it's probably the best one out there. And now you can see it's USDS, and it's been around for a little bit, and it can depeg, but obviously it can be brought back to peg pretty easily. So I feel that it stood the test of time, but it's not always going to be completely perfect. That's my major point here. Having said that, I will use it in some sense in liquidity providing, but it doesn't have much weight in Kamino itself, so I'll show you that. Let me just take a couple of questions that relate here. No news regarding Kamino points. You're referring to season 3. Like we've got this like idea that season 3 would be the end of the year based on like I think 3 months, but we have no confirmation on this. People will be farming the points, of course, or they'll just be using the dApp more likely organically. If you do want to farm, you can use Sandglass, and I'll show you that in another video, maybe tomorrow. But ultimately, I'm just thinking with Kamino, just use it organically. That's all you really have to do. You get some tokens, sell them if you're not bullish on Kamino, stake them if you are. So anyway, early adopters can access over 500 USDC in weekly rewards, which is just stupid. And there's a massive amount that's going into the USDS and USDC. Well, it says USDS and USD. Oh yeah, it does say see liquidity vault. So we can't get in here though. That's a major thing. So connect your wallet, your preferred wallet, turn on notifications, get yourself into Telegram. It will ping you through a Telegram message. Make sure it's pinned to the top so you always read it, and then get in there when they actually increase the caps. Because right now, for this liquidity pool, you're earning 60% APY, which is very, very juicy with this crazy 200,000 USDS every week. The range, they'll probably have some information on the range. The range is like, should mean that there should be very little in the way of impermanent loss. That's that one. I wouldn't go and put this into Meteor or anything like that. I don't think it's going to get, you definitely want to be in a farm that's getting rewards. If there's another place where you can do it, brilliant. Just also want to point out though, this is not, like if I put in Sol, I can't go and borrow USDS right now. So that's of no help to me. And if I put in USDS in order to get this nice yield, I only have 20% that I could use to say, go and borrow some Sol or go and borrow some Bitcoin or something. So PYUSD, USDC, and USDT, they're obviously the better stablecoins at present. And you can bridge it from away from Wormhole if you want to. Like if there is an arbitrage, you can go and lend it or sort of borrow it over there, bring it over, and then earn some rewards potentially. This is more if you've got a decent amount of kind of net worth or something. Lulo as well, one of my favorite DeFi dApps. They have integrated USDS. So if you come to Lulo, come up here where it says live rates, you can see right now on Solana, there's a huge amount of leverage in the system because you can see how crazy this is. But I think that's more just pushing up the price of Sol, trying to get that 260, then maybe 290, and hopefully, as I said, 300. PYUSD, not pretty bad, but USDS, only 2 marketplaces, and still it's really, really high. However, if we go to Aave.com, this is the GOAT. The Ethereum market has the most amount of just liquidity. It just kind of sits there. It's not really actively used, but people can bridge this across, of course. You can see the borrow rates are actually much lower, 7%. So that's why I say people could borrow over here. Maybe they've got a whole lot of wrap BTC or ETH, bridge it across, and then they're just earning this nice kind of 10, 15% with very minimal risk. Now, in general, I think the markets this is not where like my expertise is. I just rely on more of like the funding rates and the borrow rates. And typically I have been fairly accurate here in the past when things have gone a little bit too crazy. So when you start to see USDC, USDT funding rates go up to like 30% or more, it's a little bit, it's like there's too much leverage in the system, because remember, you borrow those in order to beef up your leverage long position. However, as I've shown you, it's only like that on Solana. It's not like that everywhere. But if you have a look at Drift, just because I've got, a good UI, if I'm going to trade on DEX, like if it's BTC, Sol, or ETH, probably going to be Jupiter Perps. But they do have a good UI for this, and you can use BONK here, or you can use it on Flash Trade. So you can see the actual funding. So if you put in a long and it's positive, you're paying at the current rate about per year about 100% in your of what you pay to the shorters. Every time it goes negative, so this is when there's more people shorting the market, then the shorters pay the longs, and this is to try and create a balance. This is the last 1 month, and you can see like these funding rates are very, very high. This is one of the reasons why something like Ethena does well, because it just has a constant kind of short on, and it earns those fees from the funding rates. Solperp as well, kind of high. It's gone negative for a couple of times, but most of the time this will be completely positive. We can have a look at ETH as well. Nowhere near as much interest. Yes, it's positive, but it's not really crazy there. And BTC, not as insane. So that's just something to keep in mind. And even Matic, they're trying to push up Matic pretty high there. So the takeaway here is like 100% APY for a big market cap token like BONK and Sol, I think means, it's not going to sustainably stay there. So it will kind of come on down. Of course, I think Sol goes much higher and BONK goes much higher. Just immediately in the next like week or whatever, I'm unsure. If you go and grab a crypto loan from Bybit as well, you can see they've got a huge amount of liquidity, but the amount that you're paying annually is like, if you want it for 14 days or 30 days, it's high. It's a high interest rate. So that's just indicating that there is a lot of leverage in the system. Okay, let's move on to Magic Eden. So Magic Eden pre-launch market on Coinbase. This is amazing. So the token will be highly likely launched or like go on Coinbase as soon as it goes live. This is big. This is very big. The previous one to do that, sorry, I've got my cat next door to me, was JTO. I think that's the only other one that's kind of been listed like beforehand. Because of this, like, of course, the token price pumped, and this is Whales Market. I've mentioned this many times. People just keep on asking all the time, though. You can use Whales Market, but do not do anything with the token, because then the team is not fulfilling what they said they would in terms of buying it back. Now, you'll notice like there are some people that went into trades at these crazy low prices, and if you went and bought it at 50 cents or whatever, you're thinking, oh, well, I'm up 5x. You're not up 5x because the person's not going to complete that trade if it does launch at $2.50. Instead, they're just going to lose their collateral, in which case you'll make not quite a 2x because there's fees involved with Whales Market. But anyone that bought them down back at like 28 cents or whatever, just keep in mind you've done 2x on that. That's all you've done. Other big news from official upbit, South Korea's largest crypto exchange listed BONK with the KRW market. There's already been a lot of oomph in this pair already, so it kind of shot up 10% before it's come on down to just below where it actually started from. But BONK, like if you look at it over the last 24 hours, you're like, oh, that doesn't look very good. But that's the wrong way to look at it. You're far better off looking at it from like that. That's a far better idea of just before Trump to now. For a large market cap token to go to like a $4 billion market cap, perfect. Does it like have legs to like keep on pumping like this in the short term? I have no idea, but I don't really think so. I think, you know, at this stage, that kind of pump is pretty insane. Like, do I DC in? Yeah, because I think, you know, $30–50 billion as a market cap is certainly possible. I can talk about that more another day, though. One thing to keep in mind is that there is a KWR, the KRW premium. This upbit premium. This is from Cadence. So it has a massive amount. Koreans are very savvy people with technology. They are very familiar with crypto, and this is real. This is real. Does it mean that it translates in the next week? I'm unsure. But like in general, this is a perfect thing to actually happen for BONK. Gloom still has his position, $10,000 into $500,000 in less than 3 weeks. And because his leverage is now very, very low, I think he's just probably going to keep it running. He's going to have to pay this funding rate of approximately 100%. However, this amount will probably, you know, it'll go more than a 10x, and then he only has to pay like a lower funding rate at his leverage amount, meaning like it's worth keeping open. And you might know the BONK guy. You should know the BONK guy if you know my channel. In which case, he can be like the second BONK guy. Not really, but like this can get him a lot more conviction or trade like followers, or just proving that like, hey, look, this is a good brand advertisement for BONK. Unsure if that made perfect sense, but I think he's going to keep it open. I don't think he needs to close it. Anyone that has a Google, they're like 1,300 Sol, like he'll be doing well. He'll have some bags. BONKbot itself has now burned 2.4 billion BONK in the last 24 hours. I haven't even set up a tutorial or referral on this. I probably should. That's a bit silly on my behalf. Also, the dog and Burnsy now have a little bit of a partnership, which is very cool. Burn is one of the tokens that I was spoken about a while ago. Someone asked me about it, and I didn't really see that it has crazy potential. I don't think it has crazy potential versus BONK itself. I am considerably down on my Burn position that I got on day one, like thousands and thousands down. However, it has pumped. And so just to be sure here, or just to be clarify what the task is, the dog is burning 100,000 BONK for every new burn holder of 10,000 or more. So if you want to accumulate more burn, if you are a BONK holder, go and do it in 5 different wallets. Right now, because of the pump, that actual cost is a little bit higher though. And if we zoom out all the way, you can see, I mean, we're almost at kind of all-time highs. However, back here, like Sol was like $30 or something. So, well, we're not like they've done well. It was down 98% or something, and now it's down 45. So I hope this continues to do well. And I haven't sold any of my burn. I don't have a crazy amount, less than $1,000 worth. So as I said, so 10,000 burn is 173. This is a token 2022 standard token, meaning there is like a burn tax. So just be aware of that, and that will get you 156, or vice versa. Well, I'm unsure exactly how it works. Maybe I can find out, or Burn team can put out a little explainer video. BONK, they'll burn 100,000 BONK, so they'll be burning $5.30. So basically, this is only if you want some upside with burn, and maybe burn does okay. I mean, it's pretty. They've hustled, and they're gaining more relevance. So good on them. Cat is a token I'm a big fan of. There's no shill here. Just the very cool thing is you can now bridge from BNB chain to Solana. I'm not going to show you how because it's fairly easy unless I work it out and it's too difficult. But you do it with Stargate with layer 0, and I'm going to bring across my BNB cat across from BNB to Solana because that's where it belongs. Now, Infinex, which is my suggestion I always mention, it's log in every day, do the bull run. I don't do it every day myself, but I do try to, and it needs to be on your set of reminders. Maybe I need to have a little section on the clipboard, on the corkboard at the back there. If you played with the ENA stuff, like holding some of their stablecoin or whatever, you'll get a small ENA reward, and there's a bit of a bonus there. Unsure how juicy that will be. Probably not too juicy, but I just like that they're making this easier. This is something that will be far more relevant next year, so don't fade it now. Let's get into some actionables, take a couple of questions, and then we'll be back soon. First, the most important thing, I mention every time, like, I'm not a shilly person, but you should DCA into Sol, not financial advice, and stake it with Validator.com. You should be staking with Validator.com. Everybody that's here should be staking with Validator.com. Just join my Telegram channel for time-sensitive updates. And I need to just do a quick little refresh on this page, sorry, because I changed an actionable. Apologies. DCA BONK on dupe.ag and deposit into the USDS-USDC liquidity pool on Kamino as soon as you can, because you can't, the caps are currently filled, but it's earning approximately 60% at present, which is juicy. Airdrop actionables, Meteora, Bull Run, claim the Ethena Airdrop, and use Gradient Network and Grass. That's all for today. Let's go ahead and what do I have here? Sorry, my teleprompter is in the way. All right, let's take some questions and then let's end it. Any ideas on the Meteor airdrop? I would imagine February next year, March next year. It's got to be when. Sorry, I'm just doing some stuff on some screens. It's got to be done when there's like enough users so that it creates this kind of core community. That's what I think. Remember to swap your USDC for PYUSD in Kamino, 10% delta on interest. Cool. Unsure if it's like that right now, but if it is, fantastic. What do you think about Mist? Don't know what it is. Have a quick look. I knew of a Mist in the previous cycle on BNB, but I don't know what this is. Mist. I don't know what Mist you mean. Is it this? Is it this kind of, I think this was a gaming project, Mist.game. It's just kind of pumped 50%. Probably have some in around, or I mean, it's down incredibly. Market cap's tiny. I don't know. If it's that, I don't know. Project 89, I do not, I know the token pumped. I'm not sure on it. I know it's been mentioned in the Feed Printers Discord, so you can go check that out. Thanks for joining. Am I still feeling positive about Uprock? If something changes, then I'll say, for transparency, I'll just say I'm not. I don't know what the token is doing. Some tokens are going to lag, of course, and you need positive news. If it's mean of me to say this in a sense, but quite often liquidity will go from one project to another project if it's similar. So Grass doing so well should push liquidity over to Uprock, providing they can take their data and market it and sell it to someone. If they can't do that, then there'll be a problem. But I have all my Uprock tokens. I'm down on the position decently, and I'm okay with it. I'm just going to hold the tokens. The market cap is tiny. They've got, yeah, I think it's worth doing your own research into, because there's not a whole lot of hype around this, and because I don't know how well they are doing on monetizing this stuff, and I can't really go and I don't want to go and shill anything. I don't like to shill anything. That's my kind of thesis there. What is the criteria of dupe airdrop? So I can cover this in more detail in today's, like, I'll do another video on it. Let's see if we can find it though. There's 3 different things. Volume is a consideration. It's not the main point. There'll be no locking or vesting, and this doesn't show everything. Maybe there's a TLDR here. Basically, it's like volume, and you'll have to do like some sort of human check. So you'll have to make sure that at the end, you've got, I am a human. I don't know what you have to do to prove that you're a human, but there'll be something, so that they'll be trying to take away the civils and the farmers. Do you just use a Starbreak bridge alone just to bring CAT over to Solana? There's no other, there's no other bridge that's currently working with the CAT token. So yes. Thoughts on ISC stablecoin and Prospera? So if I'm not like, if I don't know about something, I never want to hurt anybody's reputation, especially if they're building something cool. I personally, I don't want to go with any stable coins that are kind of new or backed or whatever, because USDD, is it USDD? No. Oh look, for one thing, we know UST, right? This lost its peg incredibly. It's just a little bit scary with anything that could lose its peg. This lost a lot of money. And if we have a look at ISC, I don't really have a lot of time to like jump on a whole lot of like podcasts with everybody either. So unfortunately, they won the Coliseum Raider Hackathon, which is very, very cool. So you're going to have to dive into it yourself. Not everything is going to be worth my time or your time, but this is worth you kind of diving in. If somebody does make a really cool thread, tag me in it, and then I can cover it potentially. That's all I can really say on that. Do I have a favorite off-ramp app method? So it all depends on what country you live in. Honestly, for like, I can pull out my phone and maybe show you, or I'll just quickly tell you. Cast, I'll put like my referral below, or I'll make sure it is below. But the Cast Money app is like a debit card. I use that most of the time. Otherwise, I use Kraken, but it just depends where you are in what country. Some things are not going to, like Binance has a higher fee in Portugal. Kraken has a tiny fee. When you are moving USDC or USDT or whatever into your exchange, you can just swap it. But if you swap it, you pay this extra UI premium fee. If you move into the markets, the advanced tab, the pro section, same with Coinbase. And if you do a market sell from USDC to USD or USDT to USD or whatever, or euros, then you pay a lot less. So that's how I do it. I'm not going to show you because I'll have to show you my own account, but it's pretty easy. I don't have a PIF price prediction. Great technology. Have no idea I don't think the tokenomics are great. They haven't done well with the price. It kind of pumped up. I do have some PIF, and I'm just staking it. Someone buys the IBIT share, the BlackRock settle and fill by 1, going to the OTC desk, which doesn't necessarily move. Then 2 goes to market, and this is when the price moves on chain. Cool. Well, good to know. I mean, the reality is, if you see $5 billion worth of buys, the price would move up. And yeah, I understand they're not going to go directly onto Binance or Coinbase and have $5 billion worth of stuff. But ultimately, my biggest point here, which is very, very bullish for Bitcoin, is the fact that it actually has to settle in Bitcoin, as opposed to there's a lot of things out there. I don't know if this is the case with gold, but I think it is. They settle in cash. So they're not actually buying the gold and putting it in a vault. It's just like the option or whatever is settled in US dollars. And that's what's bearish. Thanks very much for joining. You will see me later today talking about some other stuff. Cheers.